an extreme sport that evokes extreme emotions. It's not so much Wilder's narrative that Anthony Joshua was happy he lost because he was scared of fighting him. It's the fact he never cleans none of the nonsensical things he says about his rivals up. You know, there's always these extreme reactions after his fights, the ones he doesn't win in particular, when the red flags are abundant. One win in his last three, the inactivity, which is reflected in him being demoted from number 2 in the Ring Magazine rankings to number 9. He's 39 years of age, and the more he stepped up his level of opponent, e.g. Tyson Fury and Joseph Parker, the winning results are not manifesting. And I get it, you know, like George Foreman went off the rails after he lost his belt to Muhammad Ali. He wanted to prove to everybody he was still that man, overcompensated, taking on 5 opponents in one night. It's on YouTube. It's a comical spectacle. Ali's ringside taking the piss out of George. And his career never recovered in the 70s until he retired after the Jimmy Young fight, where he was upset in Puerto Rico, put on the canvas and outboxed, where it was said he had hallucinations in his dressing room after. Then he converted to his faith and religion and retired and came back years later and won the world title at the age of 44. Floyd Patterson, after losing his world title to Sonny Liston, was apparently walking around in these disguises like a crazy person, man, you know what I mean? Trying to hide from the public the humiliation he felt getting smashed to pieces by Sonny. And Wilder has built himself up to be this fighter that he's not. His resume doesn't support the things he says about himself as a boxer. And on the eye test, his boxing is shockingly bad.
You're an embarrassment.
And losing is a big source of embarrassment to him, obviously. Why do you think he came out with all the excuses after he lost to Tyson Fury? It's embarrassment. He doesn't want to face the LDBC and say he lost to the better man. He wants to make excuses. And they're the only demographic of boxing fans that will indulge him on that level. Deflection can become a crutch for embarrassment when you're not ready to deal with the reality of the situation. And that's what we're dealing with right now with Deontay Wilder. Deflection and denial just happen to be the crutches for Deontay Wilder's embarrassment. You know, it's how fighters deal with that embarrassment. Like we saw AJ popping the wheelie on the bike in New York after he lost to Ruiz and he was playing on the basketball courts. There was a black guy walking past him while he's playing the basketball. No more getting beaten to fat. Whatever. Tyson Fury getting decked by Francis Ngannou, an MMA fighter, and taking the distance. And people arguing whether Tyson really deserved the W. He's almost went into hiding since then. Hasn't done much social media. I think he may have said that his granny could have beat Deontay Wilder on that last performance. And not much else. Like Turki Al-Sheikh posted this photo on Twitter yesterday with Wilder and Anthony Joshua. I'm assuming it was taken before both of them fought. I guess he was saving this for when it was supposed to be announced on Saturday before Wilder lost. And if they're putting the bag up, yeah, that fight could still happen. It could still happen. And I'm still picking Anthony Joshua to damage Wilder, potentially end his career. And yeah, some of it is based on what I saw last Saturday. But even if that didn't happen, I'd still back Anthony Joshua to beat Deontay Wilder. Though I did hear Malik select some comeback opponents for Wilder and Joshua wasn't mentioned. And Eddie Hearn, talking to IFL, he didn't say anything to suggest that Wilder AJ is next. Most fighters are not going to be Floyd Mayweather and go through their careers unbeaten at the top level. So the embarrassment factor is something that has to be addressed, because as undesirable as it may seem to be embarrassed in these situations when you get beaten by an underdog or knocked out badly or whatever the case may be, when you get through the other side of it, if you get through the other side of it, that's the ultimate character building. coming back from bad defeats in boxing and, you know, having to conquer your fears, even watching the fight back where you lost or you might have won, but you know, like Shakur Stevenson, you win a fight, but it's not exactly a confidence building win. Getting back into camp and being in two minds whether you can take a punch after you just got knocked out. Is the hunger still there? You know, Wilder was asking himself if he can find the killer instinct or the hunger. Well, the first place to search is to try and run it back with Joseph Parker. Even if Parker doesn't want to, you should be on his back to run that fight back, of course. Calling out AJ straight away after losing to someone else is Wilder not really wanting to deal with the fallout from what actually happened. He's trying to ignore the Parker fight. And he hasn't owned the loss yet. He hasn't owned it. Because he's not reacting like a fighter. Fighters want get back after they lose, especially when they were the favourite. But when he done the interview saying AJ doesn't want the fight, he took a long pause before he responded because he didn't know what to say and he was embarrassed. So he had to think of something that the interviewer and those listening to the interview would gravitate to. And that's blame Anthony Joshua. That works every time. And that's what he went for. Predictable. Definitely Deontay Wilder. Definitely a way to mask his embarrassment, deflecting his own issues onto Anthony Joshua when Joshua turned up and performed and done his part of the deal. Well, I definitely believe Derek beat Joseph Parker first time. Second time, Joseph cleaned it up. Derek called out Deontay Wilder, and a few beta British boxing fans and media, they got very emotional and tried to protect Derek when it was a fight. You know, like, I'm not saying Derek necessarily wins, but until, or if he is put down, until then, he gives Deontay all types of issues. All types. And we should have let Derek at him, really. But, you know, maybe it'd be a good comeback fight for him. Maybe it'd be a good comeback fight for Wilder and Derek. They say Shakur Stevenson is going to run it back with Edwin De Los Santos after the disappointing performance. I guess he's going to try and prove to everybody that, yeah, he wasn't right on the night and he's going to show us that he can do way better. I think it's a very good move. It's a good move. Unless he can get one of the more franchise names into the ring, that's a good move. It would definitely build his confidence and exercise some demons. That's if he can improve on it. You know, because Edwin De Los Santos is going to look to improve on what he did too. So, let's go. Dmitry Bivol has revealed he's already signed his side of the deal to face Artur Beterbiev in Saudi Arabia. Beterbiev must get through Callum Smith on January the 13th and agree his side of the fight. Told Smith he can pull off the upset and spoil their plans. Matchroom has now made Josh Taylor third offer to face Jack Catterall in a big domestic clash, which will be a rematch of their 2021 battle for the undisputed 140-pound titles. They're looking towards the spring of 2024. I don't think Josh Taylor wants to fight. I haven't believed he's wanted it from when they started talking about a rematch in 2021. He doesn't want it. Bad and good year for the PBC. You know, they got fights on like Tank versus Ryan Garcia. We also saw Crawford versus Spence. And then it wasn't such a good year for them in regards that Errol Spence, Stephen Fulton, Jamel Charlo and Deontay Wilder were all completely wiped out, as observed by Calix Boxing. Showtime Boxing, you know the story. Out they go. Stephen Espinoza left us with this though, in regards to the Day of Reckoning event. Yes, I know the event was scheduled to provide content for Riyadh Season Festival, and the US market isn't necessarily top priority, but those festivals continue through March 2024, and this was a lost opportunity to expose and grow the sport. Now, you see, Stephen is one of the issues that American boxing has. He expected the Saudis to shift their plans so they wouldn't clash with the gridiron or basketball game that was taking place in America. And I guess it's because Stephen is used to operating for one network, one country. And it's never going to get through, no matter how many of us say it. DAZN is a global network, is a global app. 200 countries. It's a global app. And it's based in the UK, not in America. I don't think a lot of Americans want to hear that. They talk about DAZN like it's an American market, just marketing to Americans. But I wouldn't expect nothing less from Stephen Espinoza. Basically a dinosaur who hasn't caught on that boxing is now a global market and a global platform. And this isn't the 80s or the 90s when King and Arum were in their full pomp controlling the game. This isn't the 80s when it was Arum, Sabatini and Mickey Duff pulling strings. One based in Britain, one based in Italy, one based in America. And they were a very powerful unit. Them days have gone. Stevens talking about it was a wasted opportunity. Well, let me tell you what I think the wasted opportunities are. You influencing boxers like Errol Spence with the side of the street rhetoric which held up the Crawford fight. Or when they stopped Deontay Wilder, because there had to be something in it. Why Lou DiBella lost his job over the DAZN deal in 2019, which Lou wanted to take. And why Wilder didn't sign up for the DAZN deal. And we would have got the undisputed fight with Joshua. Rather than hear Deontay whinging that AJ doesn't want the fight when AJ signed a 2-fight deal on the proviso that Wilder won and he went and lost the fight.
That there was a whole elaborate thing planned if Wilder had won and if AJ had won. The contracts were done. AJ was going to do his interview. Wilder was going to come to the ring. I was going to bring both of them together. There'd be some, social media worthy moment, and we'd be building towards March. Anthony Joshua was taking that fight. It was done. He was taking that fight. He wanted that fight. It's crazy to think that AJ was happy that Deontay Wilder lost.
A lot of the issues we have in boxing today are carryover from some of the bad practices that Showtime and Al Heyman were carrying out. You know, what you said about, I know the event isn't necessarily catered to an American market. It's catered to a whole load of markets, and the franchise boxer of that event is Anthony Joshua, a Brit. Yeah, I'm not saying it's all about Joshua, but he was the franchise player. That event would not have went ahead without Anthony Joshua. He opened the market up in 2019 with the Ruiz rematch. That was a huge event over there. Boxing has been moving on with or without the American market. And I've never said we don't need the American market. I've never said that. Because that's selfish, it's insular, and it's ignorant. We need a situation where we see Al Heyman or whatever representative from the PBC sitting next to Bob Arum or Todd Dubois or whatever his name is, making the biggest events they can make. Just like we saw Frank Warren with Eddie Hearn through the whole of December to promote that magnificent event. That's what we need to see. We had Queensbury, we had Matchroom, we had Top Rank, we had PBC, and whoever else under one roof. So 2023, worst promoters, probably have to put it down to Ben Shalom in the UK. Fumbled the bag on a couple of purse bids with Fraser Clark on the day of the purse bid with Fabio Wardley, and he done the same thing, exact thing with Richard Riakporhe and Jared Pattaya. And there was other blunders, but let's give Ben a break. Hopefully he can do better next year. Best promoters, Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, no doubt about that. I already explained why just a minute ago. My favorite fighter of the year, Devin Haney, beating Vasyl Lomachenko, and Regis Prograis, now two-weight champion. Favorite performances, Inoue versus Fulton, Crawford versus Spence. Enjoyed Jair Pataya's return to the ring, really enjoyed that. Bam Rodriguez versus Sonny Edwards, loved the fight. Good performance by Sonny actually, and great performance by Bam. Katie Taylor, still the most relevant female boxer. Tyson Fury laid an egg, was lucky to come out with a W against an MMA fighter making his debut. Lawrence Okoli laid an egg and lost his WBO belt. Jermell Charlo, he didn't look up for it when he took on Canelo for the undisputed super middleweight title. Canelo dominated. Andrade took a battering against Benavidez. Probably Benavidez' best win. Andrade, where does he go from here? I don't know. Even when he was snacked up, he couldn't do nothing with Benavidez. Tim Tszyu impressed me with his points win over Brian Mendoza. Tim is now the WBO light middleweight champion. Gianni Beckham Kunalai, he unified a couple of straps at 160 against a Euro no-hoper named Vincenzo Gualtieri. I haven't went through a selection of fights to pick, but off the top of the head, best fight was O'Shaquie Foster versus Hernandez. That fight was sick. I also enjoyed Lee Wood versus Warrington. That was a very good scrap for the WBA featherweight title. Warrington started off like a miniature train, and Lee found the finishing punches in the 7th round. Lee Wood, a domestic fighter who was going nowhere at all. Like, Ben Davison's done a great job with this guy, and Ben looks like he's doing a great job with Anthony Joshua, but this was Lee's 3rd world title fight this year. He lost the belt to Mauricio Lara, avenged that, and then he finished off Warrington in October. Very productive year, old school style, 3 world title fights in a year for Lee Wood. Big yourself up, sir. Big yourself up. After the classic knockout over Ogawa in 2022, Joe Cordina was stripped of his belt, had a hand injury, unfairly stripped in my opinion. He came back and beat Rakimov, who won the vacant title, against Zelfa Barrett in a very good fight, and outpointed him on a split decision. That was a tough fight, right? And Joe's had a very tough year. The Edward Vasquez fight was incredibly tough as well. Incredibly tough. 2 tough fights for Joe Cordina, but he's still the IBF Super Featherweight champion. So they were some of the moments that caught my eye through the year. There's a lot more, but I don't have time to do an extensive wrap-up for the year and edit it as well. I might have to do a hangout and we talk about 2023. Peace.
Yeah. Loud J5. It ain't as easy as it seems. Delirious on the track. I said, we might as well do it again. Turn this collaboration to a classic. Yeah. You know the time wasn't breaking me, but it's great to be free. Fuck a 5 by 9, I got some places to be. Usually carry something that'll turn your face to debris. You got no clue what it takes to be me. These motherfuckers wanna ball, I'm in the game, so it's easy to see now. Ain't the way that you ball or you fall, it's the rebound. Lot of niggas holding them burners just to beat down. Treat you like me at the bar, get you a free round. That's all they really respect these days. This paper, this work, these K's. Time flies, but a prison sentence can freeze days. A lot of niggas killing shit just to appease babes, but not me. I move out to make dough grow. They usually determine which direction the hoe go. I'm about to quit the game, trademark me a logo, and just sit back and eat good on my slow flow. Motherfuckers asking me, Feeve, you back now, nigga? I never left the judge, but me in the background. Came home, half of these niggas on crack now. Every other cat on every block rap now. That's cool, the game is flooded, so I'ma chill when my chain is studded. See, the whole rap game is gutted. Nah, I said that it's dead now, but I gotta disagree with that. It's just about that bread now. Even though I don't like that shit on the radio, the underground is heavy though. I got a heavy flow, so nigga know if you lightweight and I apply pressure, you might break. It's like when a fight break. A lot of little niggas just gather around, ain't got shit to do with it. They just glad to be down. Why you had to be found the wrong place at the wrong time? Damn, I know heaven must got a long line, got a strong mind, they ain't taking me out. We gon' have it on lock until we saying we out. And a lot of y'all won't believe, till they tryna force air in your lungs and they won't receive it. That's life, guns blast out. These niggas beating a dead horse, Feeve just milking a cash cow. Build up a lead, then walk for the last mile. A lot of y'all lyrics should be in the trash pile, but I ain't criticizing my flow, it speak for itself. So it's legitimizing shit that I say. Got a seldom used clip that I spray, got it with me today. So right where you tell shit you can lay. It's like a job to keep these little niggas in check, cause if you let them get out of line, that nigga's a threat. How you think Billy Blanco fuck around and rock Lido, left his ass laying in the fetal? There's the message in every story, gotta weed it out. These niggas talking like they brain don't lead they mouth. One morning trying to leave they house, they get caught, left laying there bleeding out. That's a lesson, your mouth is something you should keep closed, cause niggas fire shots as calm as free throws. Yeah, delirious on the track. Loud J5, Uptown Philly, and we back. I say, it only get easier from here. We're gonna take it to the next level one. I know they thought it was over, a one-time thing. down.